Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
Feeling,
Cute. This is a little bit quieter podcast, I think. It feels softer, right? Do you guys feel it?
we're all kind of like, oh,
It's raining at my house and
it
it's
is here
kind of
too.
chilly. I don't know
Yeah.
what the temperature is outside, but it feels cool to me. We had a good friend who passed, graduated, received a change of assignment this morning in the wee hours. And so it is softer that way. And then talking about your word, Jacine, beloved is such a beautiful word.
It is.
Yeah, it just feels so soft and so like a big hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like that's kind of how you got it, was like a big hug from God.
It was. Yeah, it was very clear. Yeah.
So I feel a little bit more chill, but I'll do my spiel anyway. We'll just say welcome. Welcome to creator-based life and to creator-based way and all the things creator-based, because we are here helping women of faith to empower their lives and to create the life that they really want. You're not a victim in your life. You're a creator, and you're a creator by inheritance. So we're here to help you learn how to do that. With Jacine, I'm here, Jacine Bonnet. She is a mom, a grandma, an avid runner, and a great business coach. And with Jen DeRoos, who maybe should go by Jennifer. I think everybody calls you Jennifer, but me. It's just, I call her Jen. But Jen is a hypnotherapist. She's also a creator-based coach. And she's a can grow almost anything gardener who is very interested in making a bigger, better garden every year. It seems like she's just taming the wilderness. And I'm that. You guys know me as the author of The Creator-Based Way and a master life coach in my own right. We're here today because tomorrow is voting day in the United States. And this week, regardless of how you vote and regardless of how the election goes, we're going to talk about how to be happy either way. I love going to vote because in Honey Grove, population 1,972. When we go to vote, we vote at the Learning Center right next to the library. And we like to get there about 10 minutes before the polls open because everybody's there with their cup of coffee and they're all hanging out, catching up. And so we all hang out and catch up, and then we go in and we vote, we go home, we're done for the day. And it's just a happy experience for me. Whether the voting options are very happy or not, seeing my neighbors is happy. And the whole idea of making a difference in my community and also making a difference with my vote, because I do believe every vote counts, is a big thing. But then I go home and Wednesday comes and maybe my candidate won and maybe my candidate didn't win. And I need to figure out what am I going to do for the next 4 years to be happy. So I've been reading this book. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's a book called Radical Hope, which I think is such a good topic for us on the eve of the elections. Radical Hope. And
Absolutely.
Kelly Turner, she's the author of Radical Remissions.
Hmm.
And this was a sequel to that book, Radical Hope. And in Radical Hope, they took all of these people who had had spontaneous remissions from really serious illnesses, lots of different cancers, and they compiled a great big study where they found 10 different things that everybody had in common. And then she wrote this book, Radical Hope, about the 10 ways that people can create their own happiness and create their own health and create what they really want to have happen. All the people in her book had spontaneous remissions from whatever illness they were suffering from. A lot of them were cancers. A lot of them were chronic, like fibromyalgia, kind of, big, or Parkinson's, kind of big other things that aren't really cancer related, but are still autoimmune diseases. And she boiled it down to 10 healing factors. And that's what she called them, healing factors. They're all principles of happiness. And it really, it just kind of blew my mind as I was reading through the book and I'm like, oh yeah, we do that. Oh yeah, we do that. And oh yeah, and it all works, but we do it in a more foundational creator-based way. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about this week. How you doing there, Jen? You in with us?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all there. Well, the first one I just thought of you immediately was exercise. It was the first thing, not the number one. It was, she counts them down from 10 to 1. So the number 10 was exercise. And this is why I thought of Jen, because Jen used to walk the side of her mountain with her neighbor. And in the mornings when we would have phone calls, she would be walking or getting ready to walk, and she would be happy, bubbly Jen.
Where'd she go?
It's just today.
But I always knew when you were walking or you had just finished walking or when you were going to walk, because it was different.
Oh yeah.
Runner too. I'm sure you have testimony on this. What's going on with exercise? Why would that fit as a happiness factor or a health factor?
Your endorphins released in your brain, of course. Who doesn't want those?
Yeah. They take, how long do they take? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that? That
takes a little bit longer, I think.
You get a sweet spot after a while. I know, JC, you run, right? So you get a sweet spot in your run.
Yeah, most times it just is dependent on how tired you are and stuff. But
yeah,
I think, but the endorphins come for me just in getting ready, because I used to hate it. And I did it just because I felt like I needed to. It was cheap. I could do it from my home. I could get up early, leave my kids in bed. My husband was still there, and I could run, right? So
right, close to free.
yeah. I mean, I had to buy running shoes and eventually rain gear. But it came to the point where I would wake up and I'd put on my running clothes, and immediately I'd be like, oh yeah, this feels great, right?
This is gonna feel good.
Yeah.
Or with me, when I had a walking group when my kids were little, and we would all meet like at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I would get a kick because I knew I was going to go meet my buds.
Yep.
And we would walk for an hour, and it was just shoot the breeze, time with your friends. It was just so good. And it was time off being a mom. Because otherwise I was on 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was a cool thing. One of the girls that comes to Coaching Clear walks in prayer. And so she'll walk long and slow, like an hour, maybe walk. But the whole time she's walking, she's talking to God. And she's having this ongoing conversation. She'll talk for a while, and then she'll listen to what he has to say. And then she'll talk some more and listen to what he has to say. And it becomes a meditation practice. It's a very spiritual experience. And I really love that idea. Most of the time when I walk, I think, am I done yet? Can we stop now? Because I want to be done. And her way sounds a lot better to have that. But she actually takes a notepad with her because she gets her answers out. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I would think that there's lots of reasons why that would happen, but just that she starts to talk to her creator makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
He's present. Yeah.
Well, and if you can find a spot along your route, if you're outside doing it, when I moved here, I could run to the river and then I could just sit on the rock and just overlook the river and watch the river and watch the wildlife in the river and around the river. And um, yeah, that was my time to commune,
Yeah.
commune with God at that time. Yeah.
So beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah. And absorb all of that peace, because then that sustains you going forward, right? Through whatever else is coming that day.
Yeah.
What you thinking, Jen? I see the smoke.
Well, I'm just laughing at myself. I'm going, mine would be, God, I can't breathe. I don't have the energy. I hurt. I'm kind of laughing because that's where I am right now. So I'm just kind of like going, yeah, my conversation would not be like, why am I doing this? Type thing. So
Are you sure you want me to do this? Isn't there something that would be better to do than
I'm
this?
not like, I just would not be. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's just, my brain's just going that way today. So
That's why I loved to walk with my friends, because it would take my mind off, any discomfort I experienced. Yeah.
Mm.
I really did love that idea though about her having conversation with God.
yeah.
I'm like, I want to try that. That just sounds so good. Which connects us to the second thing that Kelly brought up in her list, was spiritual connection. And to me, like, that's my number one, is spiritual connection that gets me going. Yeah. But her point was spiritual connection, not necessarily with your creator, but spiritual connection with other people. And I
Yeah.
remember I've had that experience as a mom where something's wrong with my kid. They're not even home, but you just know something's not right. And you call them, or you pray for them, or you reach out to one of their friends to check on them. But that it's a real live spiritual connection with people you love. Maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your bestie, but you can feel it when something's not right. And those are so nourishing to us. They actually change the way our immune system works.
Isn't
And
that amazing?
it's amazing,
Yeah.
amazing that it activates the immune system, and it brings, because you're out of fight or flight. I'm sure Jen could explain it, but just it activates it, and 35% more people. That was the thing that caught me with Kelly, is she said people who generally report that they're happy in their lives live 35% longer than people who don't.
Yeah.
And it's just generally happier, not, they don't do anything really spectacular. These 10 things, they maybe do one or two, or maybe they do several, I don't know. But it's just that they reported that they were just happier.
Mm.
And spiritual connection, I think, is a big part of that. I know I've heard you, Jacine, talk several times about connection, and how we need each other.
Oh, how we need each other. Yeah.
About that.
It's super. I was going back to 3 years ago when I didn't know you and Jen. And I had lived here.
Those were the dark ages.
They were. Yeah, I had 3 years ago. Wow. And I had lived here for 7 years, and I really didn't have friend groups, because I'm not out in the community. I did do church stuff. I still do church stuff. And so I had
a church community.
Yeah, a church community. Yes. And I love them, and I love to help, but no one I would like bare my soul to, or
nobody that really you could call and say, talk me off the cliff. I'm going to do something really bad.
Exactly. Like, send this text
now.
Yeah. So, but I was thinking about that connection, and how, I mean, I was still happy, but I didn't have that fullness of happiness.
It's so much richer.
Yes. And then with you and Jen, and, we were talking a couple times a week, and now it's 5 days a week in the mornings, but it just is so much. It feels like complete. It feels complete.
It does. Your life feels whole. And for those of you who may not have a spiritual connection with a friend like that, the best friends I've ever made in my life have been answers to prayer.
Yes.
Like, I was living with three littles. I think my oldest was 5, maybe 4, and overwhelmed, and just telling God, I can't do this anymore. Heavenly Father, I can't. I just need a friend. And there was a girl that moved in next door that was like this. I mean, and she was a direct answer to prayer. And for those next few years, we got each other through, whether it was scotch tape on Christmas Eve or throwing up kids in the middle of the night. It does, but when you ask, he'll answer. And that really makes a difference too. You need that connection. Yeah, I know. It's just cool. It's a good life.
Sometimes you have to wait though, because I had been
Oh,
asking.
it wasn't immediate.
Yeah. I know
No.
with Carol, who's a good friend of mine, she moved in as after we had moved to Banks with our kids, and she moved, I think when she and LD were getting married, it was their second marriage, and I met her, and it was like you put both of us together at that time, and it was kind of like, how's, yeah, that would be an interesting friendship, or just like, and but then in praying about it, and I immediately, the next time I met her, I felt that connection, and I reached out to her and said, hey, what do you think? And she's like, what? At first, yeah. And then it just really grew into just lifelong friendship. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, those spiritual connections. Jen, you want to share anything about how we met? Because that was a fun spiritual connection.
Well, and it was also, I don't really think it was a prayer that I was like, consciously praying. I just knew that I'm like, I just needed some connections in my life.
Mhm.
And this opportunity to go on this cruise came up. And the cruise, you would learn and connect with people that had your same viewpoint on some things, or at least a base.
There was lots of training. It was a cruise where in the morning you trained and in the afternoon you played. It was great.
And I just knew, I just was like, I'm going to go. And I can remember distinctly the Spirit telling me, you're going to meet 2 people. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going. And my husband's like, and you're what? He's like, you're not going alone.
You're not going by yourself, not on a
cruise with thousands of people, and I don't know what's going on with you.
I'm sorry, no, I'm not turning you loose.
Yeah, exactly.
My husband too. Oh my God.
I know.
He's like, her to be safe. She's
he's like, at what time does this sound like a good idea for you? And I'm like, all the time. It's just like, and so he's like, will you please take a friend with you? Because I was having to pay for the room anyway. Because I was paying for it. And he's like, can you please just take somebody with you? And so I took a friend just so that my husband would be like, I'm not freaked out the whole week. But yeah, I met those 2 people, and Beth was one of them. And it was just immediately when I was like, oh, there you are. Yeah. I was like, wow,
Yeah. And Jen's hair was blue, JC.
I know.
It was blue when I met her. And it was so cool because the movie Inside Out had just come out, and she was my joy. My sister called her, because I was there with my sister. My sister called her Joy too for the longest time. She's like, oh, is that your friend Joy? Yeah, that's my friend Joy.
It wasn't all blue, just the white was blue. So it was like
in the sun, man, it was really blue. Just saying.
Yeah, no, it was really blue. It was fun. But it was interesting was just to even get, because I mean, like, I can remember us as a group seeing each other, but Beth and her sister were very much trying to get to their relationship to grow and everything. And so we were supposed to go on this one excursion, and everything fell apart on that excursion. So we had to hurry and sign up for other ones. And this one excursion was just kind of not my thing. I didn't want to spend the whole 4 hours in a bus or whatever.
The bus tour going around the island, right?
Yeah, and I just didn't really want to. I didn't really want to do it, but my friend, that's what she wanted to do, and so I'm like, okay, I'll change to do it with that one. And if I hadn't changed, that's where Beth and I connected.
Wow.
And so
it was fun, JC. In the end, they gave us a tour of a nude beach, which was very interesting.
Hilarious. Yeah. It was fun. They were like, yeah,
You should have heard it. What was really funny was how much fun the bus driver had with the whole thing, just making everybody in the bus squirm and be miserable and uncomfortable. It's hysterical.
Oh, gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. Spiritual connections. They come in all different kinds of ways. Might be somebody ahead of you in line at the grocery store. You never know. You just got to keep your mind and your heart open, right? Then you'll find it. Okay, then I'm going to tell you 3, 4, and 5, and we're just going to talk about them because they're cool. The first one is empowerment, feeling like you can create your own experience, which we talk about around here all the time. Second one is increasing positive emotions, which we just talked about 2 weeks ago, having that positive emotion practice and how you can sit and in 5 minutes take yourself to a place where you're feeling happy and you can actually create that feeling of joy and that feeling of happiness by remembering things that are really happy and joyful to you. And that sets the tone for your brain so that it can feel happier in general. So this was her take was increasing positive emotions. And that's where I got that idea. She said, you're going to have a 50-50 life, but if you can just practice feeling happy for part of the time in your day, your mind will catch on. And then the last one, helping your intuition. So we've got personal power, feeling good, and following your intuition. 3 really important things that we talk about a lot in the creator-based way, because you are the creator of your own experience. You have within you light and truth, all the power you need to progress. And then the listening skills that we practice over and over with being able to hear from our higher power and trust and feel what's happening in our heart or our gut or the back of your neck. Or for me, it's down my arms. When I get a heck no and my mouth really wants to say yes, I get these adrenal surge down my arms. Like my whole body is saying, don't do that.
Yeah.
Just following what feels like intuition to you is so powerful. What about for you guys? Where do you get your personal power, or have you had practice with the emotions, or what's your intuition like? What do you, just whatever you want to share in those things. They just all are very, very good for us physically.
I had an experience actually last week that where a doctor reached out to me for some coaching for his team, and my plate is, I'm happy with as much on my plate as I currently have. And so adding another person to coach, and especially with the time zone, it was 3 hours difference. And I've trained at their clinic before, and it's like 5 o'clock my time. And I mean, it's just, there were so many things. He pays well, though, I will tell you. He pays
So there's
very
that draw.
Yes. And so I sat with it. He texted me, and I sat on the text for about 3 days, maybe 4, and just going back and forth. Okay, looking at my schedule. How can I fit this in? Where would I put it? What are going to be my lines? What is my criteria? And it was a really cool experience, just being able to sit back and say, is this, you get to choose. You don't have to say yes. You can say no. Yeah. And it was just that thought of, yeah, it's not a heck yes at all. It's not. So
Well,
why
and
am
to
I?
feel the personal power of being able
Yes.
to say no if you wanted to say no.
And yes, and then entertaining that thought instead, because it's what I chose. And being able to reach out to the doctor and say, hey, thank you so much for the opportunity. Right now, yeah, not a good time. Not a good time right now. So I appreciate you thinking of me.
I
But
got an email this morning from Karen Drucker. Karen Drucker is the gal who sings our theme song, Every Little Thought, I think. And she uses November as no-vember. Practices her boundaries all month long. If it's not a heck yes, it's a heck no. No-vember, which I just kind of love.
Well, it sets precedence for December.
It does. And
You
it's,
think
we are
about that.
picking up pace for different opportunities and different events and things as we look through November. We're trying
Mhm.
to figure out who we want to spend time with, who's really good for us, who's not so good for us, who actually drags us down, but yet year after year, we still spend time with them, and so she's got this theme of no vember,
Mm,
which
that's cool.
I really loved. It gave me pause to think about a little bit. Do we need a no vember? But that's empowerment. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And you got to follow your body signals. So much of our body is what's, I had an opportunity just yesterday. I don't even remember what it was that was presented to me, but I had that. I really want to say yes, and this is a terrible idea feeling that runs down my arms. And I was able to just quietly sidestep and say no, but it reminded me again about, the importance of having your personal boundaries and taking care of yourself.
Mhm.
Because if you're not helping anybody. You got to put your own oxygen mask on first.
Mhm.
Jen, you got anything you want to share on that?
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about like, yeah, good no November it would be good for me.
a November. I
A
love it. I just
November.
but in her email, she just had put NO in a bigger font than the rest of the word. So it's
No.
like it's shouting at you,
No.
November. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So smart. But you really have to trust your intuition with it,
Mhm.
because you don't want to just randomly say no for everything. But at the
Right.
same time, you don't want to say yes if it's not a heck yes.
Yep.
You got to know that it's your best, that it's a compassionate move for yourself, that you are loving yourself and taking care of yourself, and you have enough to share
Mhm.
or something like that. Yeah. So that's the first five. I'll read them backwards. It was follow your intuition and practice your intuition, right? Practice letting yourself feel that. Increasing your positive emotions. So practice feeling good, even on days when you don't want to feel good. Just take 5 minutes and practice. You don't have to feel it, you can create it. Just practice.
Mhm.
And practice empowering yourself, feeling capable, feeling strong, feeling like you can do this. Practice that empowerment, spiritual connections, and exercise, which
Mhm.
exercise is foundational. And even if that means all you're doing is walk in circles around your house, just move your body. What was it you said last week, Jason? I think it was motion is lotion.
Yeah, motion is lotion. Yep.
How does that work?
Um, oh man, it's like a machine that you don't use and it gets rusty and then the parts on it don't work. That's
You
how our body works as well. We have to move it in order for everything to get lubricated and move the way that it needs to. So as you move, that's that's what keeps you going. Yeah.
I had experience with a stiff neck, and it
Mhm.
was with turning. I think it was, I don't know which side it was, but it was with turning my head. And I realized that I don't have any cause in my day to turn my head, and that I just hadn't been doing it.
You're like, oh my gosh, I need to do
There's
that.
some resistance there. I just need to practice,
Yeah.
because it's not like part of an exercise routine to turn my head back and forth. I mean, it was just stiff because it hadn't been moving.
Yeah.
And once I started moving it, it worked. Yeah, it
Mhm.
was really interesting.
I had a thought on the positive emotions because
Uh-huh.
sometimes we are just like in that bleh. And
Well,
yeah, something that I just thought of that helps me other than music is going through my photos and finding photos that I love, right? And being like,
yes,
oh my gosh, that was so fun. Look at Keely's funny face. Look what she was doing. Or oh, I remember when we were there with the kids, or I remember when yeah, it
it was so
just,
much fun.
yeah, yeah. And just being able to rehearse and remember those things. So it it helps my heart
Fills
feel
your heart up.
happy. Hmm.
Yeah,
Helps my heart
yeah.
feel happy. And that's a 5 or 10 minute process,
Well, and how fun would it be to just set a timer for 5 minutes and just go through your happy photos?
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
maybe
you
you
would
make
feel
maybe
better.
you make a file, a happy photo
Happy
file.
album.
Yeah. Yeah, happy album.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Happy
That idea a
album.
lot, especially as we get more into rainy season and cold, yucky weather, just
Mm-hmm.
to be able to
That's
create.
when I look at my garden photos. I'm like, oh, that's what it used to look like. Okay, that will happen again come spring. And so that makes my happy little place. And I'm like, okay.
Part of the
It
process.
will come back, and it builds hope. I always look for hope in February because that's when it's the grayest and coldest here, you know. But
Mhm.
March comes and then things come shooting out of the ground. It's really good. Right
So,
now, we're very happy because we don't have to mow until February. And that's pretty great. That's pretty great. So we have a very special event coming up on Saturday. Jen, you want to talk a little bit about what we're doing Saturday morning?
It's our what's your one word workshop. And so we're going to talk about words and why it is important, that what some words mean and what can be a word that you pick with in conjunction to your creator, and how you and him will help you bring that word out in your life. And it's just amazing how you pick a word thinking it's going to show up in your life one way, and he just says no, or he says yes, but.
Yes, but or yes,
And yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
and
and is always a good one too.
yeah. And so it's helping you to pick out a word that you can just focus your attention for the whole year and see how what insight and direction you can get from the one word. And then also we will do a vision book or a vision page or board about that word and what it means to you. And so you can have it always with you, because one of the big things is to have your word before you throughout the year so you can be focusing on it. Yeah.
And we've all gotten our words at this point. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing the vision page. Yeah, I did one last week when I was still in my grumpy, had to stop myself from sending people nasty texts phase. And so this week should be a little better when I have new magazines to tear up and do some more. Yeah.
And
I also have done my theme page, like my page, my word page, but I'm going to at the workshop be taking one of the definitions and fine tuning that. And how do I want that definition to show up in my life? And then see how the Lord works with it with me throughout the year.
How I want it to show up in my life. I just thought about watching for it, but I like the idea of creating how I want it to show up.
Like, what are my areas that I want this word to come out more?
Yes.
And also be open to what areas the Lord will say, well, maybe this area is where you really need it. Like, hey, I was avoiding that area.
that's usually what he shows us, right?
I know.
And guess what? You're going here.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
And it's great. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, we finished the book for book club. Then what are we doing for book club next week?
We are reading The Gratitude Diaries by Janice Kaplan. So
That sounds cool.
there you are, Jen.
Oh, thank you, Jen. I got to write it down. I don't have that book yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you
Have you
have
started? I haven't started mine yet. Yeah.
I haven't. Where are we going to be reading to on Wednesday?
We're just getting started. So however far we get, we get. That's usually how our first week goes. Yeah,
Just read what you want to read at the beginning and then we'll all go together.
exactly. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
idea. Gratitude Diaries. What a perfect book for November.
I've been looking at the chapter titles and it's really interesting.
What are the chapter titles?
Yeah, share.
The first one is I Don't Want to Be the Ungrateful Lady.
But I feel like the ungrateful lady.
Yeah.
But
one of them I thought was funny. Let me find it. I was flipping through. Where was it? Oh, the career game or what I learned from James Bond. I'm like, I can't wait to read that one.
Ooh, I like James Bond. Yeah.
Money matters, or maybe it doesn't. It's just like all this, like, yeah. The no complaining zone and how diamond rings shrink and memories grow. So is this a really kind of, it looks like I'm interested by the titles.
Very
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be good. Real good. How did you come to choose it?
I knew with November coming that I wanted something to help me be more focused on gratitude for November. Last year I had a rough time in November. It's a hard month for me. That is a remembrance of the it's the month my dad died. It's the month my grandmother died, who were both very, very important in my family. My brother. I mean, it's just there's
Yeah, it's a lot of anniversaries
lot
that
of
bring back
yeah.
some feelings. Yeah.
So I just needed a focus, a gratitude focus. So
I love that because when we're reading, and I know this may not sound like it all fits together, but this month in CMH coaching, we're reading Lynn Twist's book, The Soul of Money, which as much as she was a fundraiser and she wrote so much about money, it isn't a book about money. Yeah, it's a book about abundance. And it's just so good. We're also looking at self-compassion, Kristen Neff's book on self-compassion. And when you put the compassion and the abundance together, you get yourself in a really, really good place. So figuring if you're looking at a triangle there, you've got gratitude up at the top, that could be a really beautiful November with the
that's the
abundance,
hitch pin, or
compassion.
what do they call that? The linchpin, or
The
yeah.
linchpin, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's the key, like the keystone.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Gratitude is such a catalyst and such a beautiful thing. So we hope to see everybody Saturday at What's Your Word. It's on our regular Zoom link. So if you have that, feel free to join us. And if you don't have it, you can find it on Eventbrite when you go to register. The links are all over the Monday Morning Inspiration because I think I probably put 4 buttons all over Monday Morning Inspiration. So you can't miss it. Go to CMH Coaching, sign up for Monday Morning Inspiration, and you'll get one with the links in it so you can register. If you have any problems, just contact us at CMH Coaching and we'll help you get in. There's a button right there on the page to contact us. And we will look for you Saturday. And thanks, you guys. This was good. Chill. Just, or no Vember.
November.
Till next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
With every little thought I think I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Moment by moment, it's all up to me, 'cause what I think